All right, so now that we have an idea what a text view is and what a button is, let's go ahead and start putting together a little bit more complex little application here. So we're going to still use the same app here, and if you want, you can create a total new application and go along with this one. Okay, so I'm going to use the same one here. So the idea here, I'm going to go ahead and let me delete this. In fact, I'm going to go back and use the old one, because remember we had changed that before. That's too zoomed in. Okay, that's good. So let's go and change our main activity. Get rid of this too. Let's go here. Let's get rid of all of this stuff because we are going to start something a little fresh here. Okay, it doesn't matter. All right. So what we're going to do, we're going to go to our, we don't need this for now. This one, this is where we're going to go to. And so good. So we have our button here and we have a text view. Let's change the size. Let's go to more here. Let's see, say text size. There you go, text size. We're going to change it to a rather bigger text. How about that? That's perfect. Okay, let's save. And I don't like this background image. Let's go back to get rid of this. In fact, let's say white. Nope, there's nothing there. Okay, let's just get rid of that. And we should see white there. That's good. So now we have a button and we have here a text view. Okay, these are objects, these are our widgets. Okay, now what do we need to do? Let's go ahead and connect our button and our text view in our code here, Java code. Okay, how do we do that? So what do? We say private, we say button. Okay, a button, there it is, and then we're gonna call this, let's call this M button. We have here a property field, private field here of type button. That means now here inside of our own create method, because this is where everything, when we run our applications, this is where everything is ran first. Okay, so here we're gonna say M button. Okay, we need to set it up. It's equal. I'm gonna say it's type of button, and when we find our view by ID, say r.id dot. I think we just called it button. Just to make sure, I'm going to go back to our activity here and click on button and get rid of this. Go back to property. It says ID is button. Let's change this to M button. That way we are consistent. Okay. Those IDs are very important because that's how we reference our widgets. Okay. Let's change this to. Looks like we haven't changed it. Let's see. Yes, there we go. Now it's changed and saved. And we can say M button. There it is. Okay, so now is this my button or M button here is referencing to our button here, my button. Okay, so let's see. We know what to do. We know how to change the text, the title of the button. How we do that? Say M button dot set text. All right, and remember we could have just said put a name here, but we are not, because we already know a better way, which is the best way of doing it, and you should always do this way. I'm gonna say R resource file dot strings, because that's where we're going to put the title. We haven't put anything there. Well, there's a button name. Let's use that button name there. Okay, if we save, let's go and make sure. Let's go to our strings here and say what does button name says. Let's see here. Let's say change this to show me, something like that. Now we have our button set, and we set the title to button name, which is going to say show me. Okay, let's save this and run. Okay, we should see a screen in a second here. Whoops, we have an issue. What might be the issue? What is the problem? Right, the problem here This is wonderful. The problem here is that we're still referencing the new layout we created, but now we don't want to reference that, right? Because remember, we are not talking about this new layout, this button here. We want to talk about this button here. Therefore, the reason why we're having that error is because here we are still referencing the old new layout. So let's change that. All right, that was a good mistake. Fatal one, of course. Okay, save that. We should see our button in a second here. Run. And voila, there we go. Okay, so there's show me. It changed automatically. Okay, great. All right, so the next thing we need to do, let's see here. Let's go to our, okay, there we go. The next thing we're going to do, we're going to change the visibility of this hello here. We're going to set it to invisible. Why? Well, because we are going to change all of that programmatically. Okay, let's change this visibility to invisible. So it's going to be gone. That's perfect. Okay, so what we need to do now, we have to reference it. Even though it's invisible, we can still reference it in our code. So we go back here, we're going to do the same thing, say private. Now, what this is not a button, is what? It's a text view. Okay, and we're going to name it something different. I'm going to give it a different ID. I'm going to just call this text view, for the lack of a better naming here. Definitely want that. So I'm going to just say don't ask again during this session and send yes. Okay, so updates everything. Remember this, the R file has to be updated every time you make those changes because that's how we reference things around. Okay, so we'll go back here. We said private. It's a text view that we're going to try to instantiate here. So we're going to create a text view. We're going to say text view. Should have found a better name, but that would work. We're going to do the same here. We're going to actually create a handle, text view. Okay, it's going to be text view type. Remember, the reason why we have to do this here is because our find view by ID just brings up a general view. In this case, we're just telling Java that the view that we're talking about here is actually going to be a text view type. All right, so we're going to say find and then r.id.mTextView. There it is. Perfect. Okay, perfect. That's great. So now we have a button and we have a text view. If you were able to get to this point, connect the buttons and the button and the text view, congratulations. So in next video, we'll continue building this very small, interesting application where we'll be able to click on the button to change the text that will show in our application, in our text view. All right, so I'll see you in a bit.